Velkommen til den næste film, produceret af den tidligere FDA-inspektør John Lee. Det er film nummer 7 ud af 9, og temaet i dag er Risk Assessment. Man kan sige, at i forhold til Risk Assessment, der tillader mig i dag også lige at inddrage EU Drug GMP, for jeg tænker, det er relevant at prøve at sammenligne de to regulatoriske områder, fordi der er en bemærkelsesværdig forskel her. I forhold til FDA Drug GMP, så står der faktisk ikke ret meget direkte i lovgivningen omkring Risk Assessment. Men man kunne se, hvordan FDA udmønter Risk Assessment i forhold til de warning letters af 483, som er udstedt igennem årene, og i særdeleshed i forhold til de warning letters, som er kommet i 2019 til 2020. Det er også det, John taler om i filmen, vi skal se her om et øjeblik. Til gengæld må man sige, at hvis man kigger på det i forhold til EU Drug GMP, så er EU Drug GMP meget mere tydelig på, hvad man forventer omkring Risk Assessment og i hele taget en risikobaseret tilgang. Quality Risk Management er jo grundlæggende den systematiske proces for at vurdere, kontrollere, kommunikere og review risk. Og i det ligger, at det er en vurdering i forhold til produktkvaliteten, og det er en vurdering i forhold til patientsikkerheden, og det er en vurdering i forhold til dataintegriteten. Og det John taler om her, det er, at han synes, at grundlæggende så bliver risk assessment som sådan misforstået i forhold til, at man afskærer sig fra at vurdere risk, eller for egentlig at lave en validering af, at tingene fungerer som tilsigtet. Og det er ikke korrekt. Altså grundlæggende så her er det ikke et spørgsmål, om man skal bruge risk assessment i forhold til, om man skal eller ikke skal. Det er mere et spørgsmål om det scope og det omfang, validering skal tage. Det er det, man skal bruge risk assessment til. Og der kan tingene godt blive lidt misforstået. Jeg vil sige, at grundlæggende så er min egen vurdering her, at når man bruger risk assessment, så skal man gøre det i forhold til en vurdering af, hvis man siger, omfang af den validering, man skal udføre, i forhold til netop produktkvaliteten, i forhold til patientsikkerheden og i forhold til data integrity. Det er det, der er interessant. Og så vil jeg jo også lige henvise til den guide, som ligger fra ASTM, den der hedder ASTM i 2500-13, og den giver faktisk et rigtig godt overblik over, hvad man forventer i forhold til at arbejde med risk. Og John refererer ikke som sådan direkte til den i filmen her, men jeg tænker faktisk, at den komplementerer vældig fint det, som John fortæller, og så er den rigtig god til at illustrere også den proces, der ligger fra, at man har noget viden omkring en proces, et produkt, de regulatoriske krav osv., til at man i den anden ende står og har en valideret proces, et kvalificeret stykke udstyr, som fungerer som tilsigtet. Jeg ønsker rigtig god fornøjelse med filmen. God fornøjelse.
I have two concerns regarding the assessment of risk. One is that we are not putting enough focus on the GMP compliance risk. When we perform risk assessment, we focus primarily on quality, safety, and so forth, but we equally must apply the same level of risk assessment on GMP compliance. Let me give you an example. Let's say we made a batch and we found some particles in the batch, and we conclude that the particles originated from from the equipment. It is non-toxic. Let's say it's Teflon. Let's say it's nylon, for example. It is non-toxic. It has no impact on product quality, no impact on product safety, no impact on product stability. But what about the GMP compliance impact? Could the FDA consider these particles as a contaminant that shouldn't have been there, even though it doesn't impact on product quality? So that's what I mean when I say we also need to evaluate the GMP compliance risk. What could happen to us, okay, because of this deficiency or this discrepancy from the FDA? Second concern I have on the risk assessment is the misapplication of the risk assessment program. And a classic example is the one I find all the time, and that's on equipment qualification. So the FDA requirement is for a piece of equipment, we have to qualify that piece of equipment to meet design specifications and functional specifications. What some companies do is that they come up with a list of approved design and functional specifications, and then they perform a risk assessment. And if they conclude that a certain specification is low risk, then they make a decision not to qualify that to that specification. Now that might be okay from a quality risk assessment, but again, the GMP compliance risk. Okay, you are taking a risk of not complying with the GMP. This is typically what I always call science versus compliance. You cannot use science, such as risk assessment, to substitute for a GMP compliance requirement, which in this case is the qualification to meet pre-approved specifications. Now, on my recommendations on risk assessment, my recommendation is please maintain awareness. Let me explain. Besides the FDA's adoption of ICH-Q9 on risk assessment, there is no official FDA guideline or document specifically telling us what must be included as part of a risk assessment and which items require a risk assessment. We need to maintain awareness of what the latest FDA expectations and the latest FDA requirements are related to risk assessment. In other words, when do we have to perform a risk assessment? Well, to maintain awareness, we have to keep updated on all of the FDA documents, warning letters, FDA guidelines, FDA compliance programs and compliance policy guides, and so forth. Let me give you a few examples. One area where the FDA expects to see a risk assessment is on investigations. How do I know that? That's in the warning letters. So we always see cited in the warning letters where the FDA requires a company, when they have a deviation or discrepancy, that as part of their investigation, they have to evaluate, they have to assess the risk on product quality, safety, integrity, and so forth, but also on whether additional actions are needed. For example, additional testing of the batch, testing of stability samples, testing of reserve samples, and also whether or not the company should reject the batch or to recall the batch if the batch had already been distributed. So a risk assessment is definitely required for investigations into deviations and discrepancies. A second example is data integrity. Okay? The FDA has a guideline on data integrity, and it requires a risk assessment if data integrity is evident in a company. Also, we find the same thing in FDA warning letters. So in the FDA warning letter, when a company finds data integrity, they must take 3 actions, A, B, and C. And guess what B is? B is a risk assessment. What do they have to do as part of that risk assessment? FDA expects the risk assessment to include an evaluation of risk on product quality, an assessment of the risk on the patient who's taking the drug, and an assessment of the risk on the ongoing operation, meaning what is the impact on the product batches that you are making? What is the impact on the product batches that you are testing? So we need to maintain awareness. Let me give you the latest example. This guideline just got issued by the FDA just about a week ago on September the 1st. The FDA issued a guideline on nitrosamine contamination in active pharmaceutical ingredients, API. And in that guideline, the FDA requires API manufacturers to perform a periodic risk assessment to determine the possibility of nitrosamine contamination in the API. And as part of the risk assessment that they perform, they have to evaluate the possibility of nitrosamine being formed in their API, and of course the actions that they need to take to minimize or to prevent that contamination. So those are the examples that I have for maintaining awareness of the latest FDA requirements and the latest FDA expectation on performing a risk assessment.